Hello, everyone. This is another Black Conservative. I'm Ryan Bowling. Thank you all for joining me. So, mega pop star, mega rapper, mega influencer, if you will, Kanye West is in deep waters. Now, when I say he's in deep waters, I don't mean merely that he has embraced some concepts of conservative worldviews, because let's be honest, any celebrity or any person within the field of influence that embraces any aspect of conservative worldviews are going to be a target from the left. So that's a common thing. I mean, most people in the entertainment industry are, for the most part, on the left. And if there are a significant number of people on the right or have a conservative viewpoint, they're not saying it because they don't want to lose out. They don't want to suffer the persecution or the career be destroyed. But suffice it to say, Kanye West is in deep waters. And what I mean by deep waters is, apparently, according to some excerpts I'm about to read from this article on Breitbart News, he have said some supposedly anti-Semitic things or anti-Jewish things about Jewish people in general. Okay. And this is causing a lot of controversy. He's been banned, I believe, on Twitter and Facebook, or at least suspended on Twitter and Facebook for some significant amount of time because of these statements. But my question is he really being anti-Semitic, or is he making general statements that I believe is hurting him? I'm going to give you my opinion as we get into this article. So let's get right into this. And the article says Kanye West used an interview Monday with Chris Cuomo on News Nation's Cuomo to double down on targeting, as he said, quote, the Jewish community as a whole. See, right there is really, he said he was responding to a question from Cuomo regarding his relationship with social media companies, Instagram and Twitter, which have begun to ban him or limit his access, as Breitbart News reported. And I apologize. I think I said Facebook. No, it was Instagram. Kanye said, Instagram, it was purchased by Mark Zuckerberg, who, from what I could see, has a left agenda. So people are using their technology to silo any messaging that they don't agree with. And I see what he means on that. Okay, yes, Facebook seems to embrace, or Mark Zuckerberg seems to be embracing a leftist agenda, a leftist worldview. I know that personally because in the past, I have had several of my posts taken down and comments taken down or censored simply because it did not agree with the leftist agenda. I've gotten in conversations with people, and the things that I was saying it made perfect sense. But just my viewpoint, my opinion. But I guess the algorithms couldn't get with that, and they censored me on more than one occasion. So the article goes on to say Cuomo offered the rapper may have said, quote, have said things that offend the community guidelines, like anti-Semitic comments and things that are seen, Semitic comments and things that are seen as insensitive and potentially threatening to communities that we try to protect. And then it goes on to say here, Kanye said, dismissed the criticism, saying, quote, I don't like the term anti-Semitic. It has been a term that has allowed people, specifically in my industry, to get away with murder sometimes. Literally, you know that, and get away with robbing and doing bad to people. People always say, oh, I got screwed on a deal. Would it come as a surprise to you if I said, hey, a music executive screwed someone on a deal? Does that sound kind of like normal or commonplace to you? And I see what he means right there is the sense that, in the music industry, people do often, I heard of stories where people have often gotten robbed or gotten into a shady music deal. And a lot of times those shady, those shady music deals oftentimes come from the individuals not reading the contracts. The executive producers or whatever make this huge offer to them. They're looking at the money and they're not looking at all of the repercussions and variables of the deal. They're just looking at the money. So they just sign their name on a dotted line, and the next thing you know, they don't have no rights to anything. And I think that's in part, in my opinion, a part of the responsibility of that particular musician or artist to look at the contract. And if you have a problem with understanding the terms of the contract, you might want to hire either a lawyer or get yourself an agent, because agents are good for being able to read this kind of stuff. But oftentimes that's usually the case. The exchange continued with Como saying, doesn't have anything to do with being anti-Semitic unless you believe that all record producers are Jewish, or, it's when you talk about Jewish people specifically as targeting them. And he has a point there. Kanye responded, one thing is black people are also Jewish. I classify as Jewish also, so I actually can't be anti-Semitic. So the term is not factual. Okay, here's where I find this pretty challenging. Kanye says one thing is black people are also Jewish. Do you mean certain black people or all black people? Because if you're assuming from that statement, if this statement is not out of context in this article, if Kanye is assuming from this statement that all black people are Jewish, then you're feeding into this idea that all black people are Jewish from a particular religious group. And I'm not going to name that group here, okay, out of respect. But I have run into this group on several occasions. I have a brother who's a member of this group whom I no longer communicate with because of his aggressiveness and refusal to see and hear the other side and understand there are other people just as educated and versed as he is. Okay. And you probably know what I'm talking about. Okay. Well, if this is the case, then what does he mean by one thing is black people are also Jewish? Are you saying all black people are Jewish, Kanye, or certain black people are Jewish? And how are we able to validate that? See, stuff like this, I think he has to watch what he's saying. I don't think he analyzes what he's saying in specific. Let me say something real quick before I continue this article. When I'm talking about black people, I try my best to always siphon out, if you will, using his words, a certain segment of black people. I'll say the ghetto culture, which is a segment of black people, which tends to be, for the most part, to have negative, rather, cultural idiosyncrasies, negative culture viewpoints that are detrimental to the black community as a whole. Why is the ghetto culture detrimental to the black community as a whole, the way I see it? Because the ghetto culture is the culture that is promoted the most in the media, in movies, everywhere you look. That's the culture that is promoted the most, and that's the culture basically that has the most influence among the black racial group, if you want to put it that way, among the black race as a whole. And not only the black race as a whole, but other races. You see other people from other races, Asians, whites, except maybe the Indians. I don't see too many Indians doing it, trying to embrace the ghetto culture. Everything is about trying to be a rapper. Everything is about walking around with your pants down. Everything is about twerking. That's all a part of the ghetto culture, and in part have come from that, unfortunately. But it doesn't represent all black people, but it has a stain on all black people because it's what's promoted the most. So here's the deal. When you say one thing is black people are also Jewish, is that a generalization? And like Como said, look, I understand you think that, but I don't think that there's a common understanding that says black people can say whatever they want to say about Jewish people. It goes hand in hand. When you make generalizations, that's where you come into problems with. That's where I believe Kanye West is making a mistake in. When you make this a generalization that all Jewish people are stealing from black people. But let's go on. Let's go on because I have something to say about that as well. The Grammy winner then compared his interaction with Jewish people to a woman having bad dating experiences. And this is apparently what he says. He says, think about this. Let's just say a woman could have one bad man, let's just say a woman could have one bad man her life that can make her dislike men. Let her have 2, let her have 3, let her have 4. Man, the way he talks, confusing. There's got there's got to the over 10 times. Is this a misspelling or what? I don't know. This is not good. But I've been screwed or bad business has been done to me just in the past 2 years, in the past 2 years alone. And what I'm doing, I'm calling out the Jewish community as a whole. See, here's where I have a problem with. Now, I just want to say something about this. And I'm going to end the article there. You can read the rest of that article in the description box below. That's assuming that this article, of course, is completely accurate. Of course, an article does not give you the whole interview. I did not get a chance to hear the whole interview, so I can't speak on the actual whole entire interview. I can only speak on the information from the article in part that I've read. Now, having said that, when he made the statement that he's going after the Jewish community as a whole, that's where, as I said before, he makes the mistake. Excuse me, because when you say you're going after the Jewish community as a whole, you're putting all Jews in the same box. Now, let me say something else about, because he implied that Jews own just about everything. They own a lot of businesses. They own a lot of technology and so forth. The reason, for the most part, for that isn't because of racism or some favor that Jews have over everyone else. I'm going to quote or paraphrase the words of Thomas Sowell, who have often said this about other ethnic groups, not only the Jews, but the Japanese and the Chinese and the Indians, is that it's all about culture. In other words, the reason why the Jews own a lot of stuff, own a lot of businesses, whether it's record labels, movies, industries, you name it. Okay. It's because of their culture. In other words, Jewish people in general, or let's put it like this, a certain segment of Jewish people embrace business entrepreneurship, and they embrace in their culture education. How many Jewish people do you see? And I'm just going to be realistic. How many Jewish people do you see making twerk videos? How many Jewish people do you see in dance programs? How many Jewish people do you see trying to be a rapper? Nothing wrong with being a rapper, but that's mostly what people in the black community, in certain segments of the black community, want to be nowadays, is a rapper or entertainer. How many Jewish people do you see wanting to do those things? Most Jews embrace certain things that deals with business. And when I say most Jews, once again, let me emphasize, a certain segment of Jews embrace business entrepreneurship and education, and technology. And that's why they prosper in these areas, because that's what they value in their culture. So to basically borrow Thomas Sowell's concept, it's all about culture. And I believe that because that's what I personally see all the time. The Asians, same thing when it comes to the Chinese. How many Chinese people do you see making twerk videos? How many Chinese people? You may see a few, but for the most part, you don't. Chinese people that have come here, migrated here, tend to focus on their studies and entrepreneurship and things that bring them money. And that's why they prosper. That's why Chinese in America make more money than white people do. It isn't because some group outside them is putting them, elevating them. It's because of their culture and what they embrace. Okay. The Indians, the same thing. How many Indians do you know are doing twerk videos and wanting to get in sports figures? Maybe a few, but not many, right? Y'all know where I'm going. It's all about the culture. Okay. Now, when you generalize and say, I'm calling out the Jewish culture as a whole, that's where I personally believe he's making a mistake. Okay. What he should have said, in my opinion, is I'm calling out these group of people, if you want to make it a Jewish thing, these group of people here in the music industry or so and so and so. It just so happens that these are Jewish people that he feels like are robbing him or doing bad business deals. Because the truth of the matter is, whether you Jewish, black, or white, There has been stories of blacks and whites in the music industry and in the business industry who have done shady deals. So you just can't blame it on the Jews, sir. You can't do that. Shadiness is prevalent in every ethnicity. Why? Because all humans are flawed. All humans are flawed. Now, you may have some that do it a little bit more than others, but the point is, all have been involved in some shady deals. I hear all kinds of shady deals with rap labels, black rap artists and black owners of business. I'm not going to get into the details about that. All kinds of shady deals with them. What makes them better off? Are they better than this group? Better? No, they're like every other one of these music industry execs. They have flaws. So you can't pick on Jewish people and summarize and give a generalization of them as if all Jewish people are doing these shady deals, sir. That's why. Now, look, whether he's a conservative, I don't care about him being on the conservative side. I don't care about that. When you say something, even though I am a conservative, my worldview, if you say something that I disagree with, I'm going to call it out, regardless of your political affiliation. Okay, so that's what I wanted to say on it. That's my opinion on it. What do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to this channel. God bless you all, and see you again.